recording now, right?
Hello, good evening. Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dave and I'm with ArtOrg. And I'd just like to say a couple things. I mean, we've got actually not one incredible talent here tonight, but we've actually got two. And I'll be introducing Lisa Otte because she's done a wonderful job in curating the show. And everything was very nice. You can see the great result here. So I'm just going to pass it off to Lisa.
So it's my first curating job that I've ever done, and it's very, very special and been very great because I'm curating for my best friend Mel Racho. We went to Grinnell College together, so it's been kind of a long-standing art connection and, you know, friendship connection at that. She's been in town for the summer, which has been really fantastic, and in addition to the personal connection, and really very thrilled about this piece in general and what it means for, you know, locally and really generally. It's very important, but also it's extremely significant for both her and I think everybody. I think it's a really important thing to hear and to have out there. So I'll pass it on to Mel and she'll give you a lot more information about where it came from, but I'm very, very thrilled to offer this to all of you guys and anyone else that would make it.
Thank you, Lisa, and thank you everyone for coming out and seeing my show. My time in Northfield has been absolutely fulfilling, and I can't thank the community enough for receiving me the way that you have. It's been incredible. I've made great friends, and thank you to the Oddies for housing me. Fantastic, and for Kylie for just coming into my room and saying hey. Very cool. So this show has been the culmination of a lot of work and effort expended on my part and on the part of my curator and best friend, and Lisa Otte. And I'd like to keep this talk brief so that I can answer any questions concerning the show. I guess first and foremost, I would like to make clear that debuting it here in Northfield has been no accident. And among the multiple reasons that it's happened here is that since my arrival in the U.S. in 1999, I visited Northfield every year. If not twice a year, depending on spring and fall. And of course, my best friend lives here, so who wouldn't want a good reason for summer vacation? So I suppose the concept of this piece is very, very simple. I wanted to create an interactive and completely fabricated conversation between my family members. One that would bring to light an issue that we have lived with but never outwardly discussed. That topic is our current process of immigrating to this country. I knew it would be intensive and would involve a great deal of coordination because my parents live in Indonesia. My brothers live on the West Coast in Portland, Oregon. And thankfully everybody was very receptive and wanted to come out and support me here. And very, very thrilled and grateful to my family, who did see this piece, by the way, but a week ago. And I kind of tested it on them. So it passed my mother's judgments. That's good. It's pretty much, yeah. So essentially all of the video that you see in the piece was done within 4 or 5 days in my brother's living room in suburban Chicago. I essentially rented a lot of equipment and filmed everybody on this couch. So yeah, it's just been a very pertinent time to bring forth this piece. Since its inception, I believe it's February of this last year, right around my birthday. The country has exploded with the very current hot ticket issue of immigration policies and politics. With this exhibit, however, I offer you a different perspective. One that is no less harrowing or stressful or pitted with the bureaucratic intricacies, but that is at its heart the collective experience of a family who didn't necessarily mean to come here to live in the US, but slowly found ourselves entrenched in our lives here. Because, you know, people come here and you fall in love and you want to stay, you know, and you want to have kids. That's how it is. It's absolutely chaotic, and I hope that comes across in the actual exhibit. It's fractured, it stops and it starts, and it's forever changing, and is absolutely incomplete. As the artist, I can only offer you commitment. And my commitment is representing my family's story here in Northfield and beyond. So I'm pleased to say that the show is going to be traveling, which is important, I think. So it is my commitment in offering an alternative perspective to what in a manner which I hope is compelling. That said, I mean, I can I will actually, I'm a tool geek, and I will talk about how this all works with the sensors. Essentially, what creates the effect in there is a computer which acts as a brain that translates the video within it via the 8 sensors to say what part of the full video to play. And stepping on the various pads selects a specific part in a very long narrative, a 6-hour narrative, which I've edited down to give the viewer the opportunity to listen or skip whatever they hear. I'm constantly open to feedback, and I welcome it. I have a mailing list for that exact reason. My website also accepts, feedback, so please, check it out. Mel Racho, that's my name.com. But yeah, if there are any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them. But otherwise, thank you so much for coming out and supporting this, which I think was a very important, very pertinent subject. It's very near and dear to my heart. So, thank you, everybody.
Are there any questions? Does anybody have any? I think it might be nice to talk about, you sort of touched on it, but I've heard just talking to people that the installation itself is pretty chaotic, and it's kind of hard to follow one storyline, and there was a decision made to have a companion linear DVD documentary in the other room, which maybe I've just explained that, but I don't know if you have anything else to say about that specifically, and maybe why it is chaotic.
Lisa, interesting to know. The reason for such chaos in the material actually stems from the fact that it's an incredibly chaotic, I don't want to dumb it down, but it's very chaotic, it's very hard, and it's constant. We have not actually had a full conversation about this, conversation about what happened, during those 4 days yet, because none of us have been in the same country, this country for at the same time, So I suppose I wanted to capture that, and yeah.
So what was their reaction to the video?
Well, my brother father worked out a whole bunch after he saw himself. Oh, Alan, he's right above me. You're not fat. You gotta like, you can't like, you gotta go to the gym. And like, so he did. He came back here and he was just really pleased with himself. But my parents were surprised because in actually the narrative video, it's interesting because I asked my mother and father if they were going to immigrate to the U.S. I don't know if they made it to this cut, but like if they were going to immigrate to the U.S. And my father said no right away, but my father said no, but my mother said yes. So that was a conversation that actually took place afterwards, you know. But I think because my mother usually gets her way, they will probably be coming here once the grandchildren start happening, which is another interesting conversation that happens afterwards also. So yeah, it could be an aunt soon, hopefully. Yeah.
How do they feel about you staying here, for deciding to stay here for the rest of your life?
Well, I think that they have their fingers crossed, and that has been their attitude. They've always been totally supportive, but they always have their fingers crossed when it comes to this, simply because there are so many. I mean, it's just particularly in the way that I'm planning to stay here, being sponsored by a job. It's completely, it's up in the air. Hopefully someone will hire me. I mean, I hope after I graduate next year, but they're very, very supportive. That's what I'll say about my parents. They're totally supportive. I think that my mom my mother in particular has been completely blindsided by the fact that all of our kids are here and want to stay. It's not that they didn't think that we would, maybe, but that we're so, committed to it. I mean, we, particularly my two brothers who have lives and houses and homes here. Not that, we're all committed to it. We all have lives here now. So,
Mel, I'd just like to know a little bit about your parents' relationship between, if you see a parallel between your parents' relationship between the Philippines and Indonesia and the U.S. for you, or what that meant for them to move from.
Oh, yeah.
And what kind of that movement was for.
Yeah, that's a very.
Well, and to offer background, just that your whole family is Filipino.
Oh, yeah.
Your parents.
I was actually born in Manila. I spent roughly a year there before moving to Jakarta, Indonesia, which I guess would be the equivalent of moving from California to Portland, Maine. It's kind of the same area, but not area at all, but close enough, so yeah, there's definitely a parallel, I think, and I think that it'll develop as this develops more. I mean, in the narrative, this is, it's just fantastic reviewing my footage and kind of getting new information from my parents, I suppose, just by actually having to sit and listen. And it's like listening to a conversation that happens over and over again. That's video, You have to review it and make sure that you get that right part. But anyway, I don't know, my parents are very optimistic right now in the same way, for us in the same way I think that they wanted to trailblaze and go to Indonesia because it was better there for them. It made sense for them. And my mom will actually say now, after this installation, that, which I'm really, really proud to say, that this makes sense for us. And that, at least she was here last week, my mom. And yeah, she just really, I don't know, that was really great to hear she thought of it all, you know. But, yeah.
No, actually, one of the things I noticed while I was watching this part here of the video was, I think it was your brother Alex on the left of you, who, when you were talking about the part where it was, where's your accent? He said something along the lines of, well, when I'm speaking with another American. And I thought it was really interesting that he used the word another American, describing himself, therefore, as an American. And I'm wondering how common that is for you and your brothers.
You know, the first round of questions that we asked them, that I asked them was, what do you identify as? American, Indonesian, or American? And we all answered differently, which is weird if you look at the whole family. I did a 50-50 split, or like 1/3 split, I suppose, you know, third split. But my brothers all, Alex went 50-50. He said Filipino-American. I think my brother Alan said American, okay. Oh no, Alex said Filipino-Indonesian. Alan went American, and my brother Aaron said Filipino. So it's like, I mean, part of what I want to explore with this piece is how that can happen in a family, you know? In one family, we all grew up together. I mean, yes, we all did grow up together in Indonesia, but we all identified differently. And I don't know. A lot of it has to do with the accent, and that hence it's titled the way that it is. It makes an incredible difference to have an American accent. I've always known it. I've known it from the moment that I came to school here. It's easier to not have an accent, you know? And that's crazy to me, and that actually, I just got an idea. I think that that's an offshoot of this, for sure. I mean, a more directed, focused offshoot. But yes. Nick.
In the narrative you mentioned losing your accent. Do you still have traditions that the family does?
Mm-hmm, definitely. Definitely, like, it's a strange mixture of two traditions, living in Indonesia for so long, and my parents grew up in the Philippines. This mostly manifests itself during holidays and stuff. Yeah, we definitely have a really, Christmas is strange. At Christmas and New Year's is really strange at the Racho household. I used to think it was overwhelming, but now I think it's just nice, you know? I think it's great. It's just absolutely important, you know, to have those things, because otherwise I would have a split personality, I think, you know? And I don't. But yeah, yes.
I'm just curious, what other languages do you speak then, besides your accent-free?
Indonesian. And I can butcher Tagalog with Filipino. I can totally butcher it. I can understand it, but interestingly enough, I can't speak it at all. It's because they're long words and they're made out of like all these consonants, and I can't do it. But yeah, it's just, I grew up at home, I grew up with a mixture, and I think that's why that happened. But yeah. Thank you very much again for coming. It's been an incredible opportunity for me.
Where are you going next?
Ithaca? New York, I guess? Madison, I guess, or by tonight. Like, someone came in who, fantastic, wants to book me and my curator. I'll take it, you know, your costs travel. Yes. So, but yeah, this has been a very special experience. Couldn't have debuted this way anywhere else. So, thank you.